So Isaac, we got to the point in the conversation where we're talking about like 55 plus community stuff and how they're showing up at the bottom of the market, right?
Right.
So you have, first of all, how much is a house for sale for, right? This is something that the seller chooses, right?
Yeah.
So the seller and maybe their agent, they talk, they discuss, they say, okay, this is what I'm willing to sell for. Sometimes they say, let's try for a higher price, right? Sometimes they say, let's list it at a lower price so that it sells quickly. And if we listed it for a lower price, more buyers will show up and they'll drive the price up a little bit. Now we go back to buyer one and we say, hey, were you bluffing? So first let's go with low price, right? A low price, let's say that we have 3 buyers that make offers, right? Well, buyer one says, I can barely afford this. I've been looking for a home in my price range. This is the only one in my price range, right? But they get us started at our low price. Buyer
Right.
two says, I can go plus 20K, right? Buyer three says, I can go plus 30K. That's an ugly 3. I can go plus 30K and I can close in 15 days. Now we go back to buyer one and we say, hey, were you bluffing? No, I wasn't bluffing. All right, so buyer one's out, right? Buyer two, hey, we've got one that's better on price and better in closing because we're going to get the money in 15 days. What say you? Well, I can't do the 15 days, buyer two says, but I can go to the plus 50,000 mark.
Yeah.
Now, as a seller's agent, I say, hey, buyer three, I get it that you can get it done in 15 days. We're willing to wait that 30-day mark so that we can get that extra 20 grand. What say you? Goes back to his buyer and the buyer says, no, I'm out. So this is how they drive the price up,
Yeah.
right? Terms and price. Now, if it's a high price, this is a game that these two are playing. So buyers aren't even involved, right?
Right.
These two here say, hey, it didn't work. Let's go minus 10,000, right? That didn't work, didn't bring any offers, minus 10 more thousand, right? And they're like, oh, hey, we had 2 showings. So we go to those buyers, hey, did you like it? Did you like it? No, no, no. Hey, would you take it at another minus 10,000? No, we wouldn't. Okay, well then let's go minus 20. Because even the 2 people that saw it wouldn't give us minus 10,
Right.
right? That brings us another 2 buyers, right? Maybe it just brings us 1 buyer.
Yeah.
In that, we finally get an offer, and he goes minus 15,000 less than we're asking, and he asks for another 10,000 in concessions. Right? So this is the game that the sellers decide when they're going to decide how much to list their house for. Do they
Okay.
want to play this game, or do they want to play this game?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Now let me erase this. We'll show you how what we were talking about is relevant. So sellers decide how much the house is going to be advertised for, asking price, but buyers decide how much it's going to be purchased for. So everything's only worth what you can get for it, right?
Right.
You draw in a crowd, then maybe you'll get more than you were hoping for. If you get greedy and list that super high price, the house needs to be super special at that point. There needs
Right.
to not be several of them available, and that way people are more willing to pay that exorbitant amount. Okay, so senior communities. So if the house is for sale at this low price and they get let's say they get 30 buyers online to ask their realtor, hey, what about this one?
Yeah.
Right? How many of them are 55 plus?
Maybe like 15% of them. I
Let's
don't
see.
know.
Let's see, ChatGPT. How many buyers at any given moment are 55 plus in age? 24% of all buyers.
Okay.
So only 7.5 of those buyers are even qualified, right?
Yeah.
And how many of them are shopping for 55 plus communities? How about 38%? So what's 38% of 7.5? 7.5 times 0.38 is 2.85, right? So now they get 3 showings if they're at a low price, right? They get 3 showings and maybe one of them makes an offer. This is why the prices stay low on the 55 plus communities,
Okay.
right?
That makes sense.
Now, you can't use your VA loan to do it. You can do it with
Right.
conventional loans that are for investment purposes only, and it's park by park on whether you're allowed to or not. But you don't have to be 55 to own a 55 plus house. You could buy a 55 plus house with an investment property loan and then rent it to people that are 55 plus.
Okay.
And they could pay it off, and then it's a cash flow situation after it's paid off, but also when you're 55 plus, you could always move into it, right? You could always provide it to your family, whether it's your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, cousins, whatever. When they're 55 plus and they're otherwise going to be homeless, you can say, hey, I've got this 55 plus spot over here. If
Yeah.
I pay the space rent and the utilities, I think I could go ahead and eat that cash flow situation because I love you, right?
Yeah.
But that's the kind of that's why the senior community listings disrupt the home search. So when we're searching for a home, we just have to understand, okay, that's just a different market, right?
Yeah.
It's like condos and townhomes are their own market, and then single family homes are their own market, horse properties are their own market, beach communities are their own market. So there's like several markets inside of the market. And 55 plus just seems to be one of the more affordable markets. So it catches a lot of attention from us
Right.
that are qualified for a little bit less than most would be.